All right, everybody, welcome to our demonstration of the STL Tonality Andy James plugin. Now, if you're not familiar with who Andy James is, you need to get familiar with who Andy James is. One of the most technically gifted guitar players on the planet. And he's been doing it for a long time. In fact, his 2007 solo album, In the Wake of Chaos, had a huge impact on my overall playing. It inspired me to practice, and it really shaped my approach to guitar sound and just songwriting in general. So, huge Andy James fan. Now, a few years ago, he teamed up with STL to bring us access to some of his favorite gear and tones in plugin format, and that's what we're going to look at today. Now, 4 years doesn't sound like too much time, but in the guitar world plugin, where it seems like every 5 minutes something else is being released to the world, it's kind of an older plugin. But does it hold up? We're going to find out. I think we'll be surprised at what we can get out of this and some of the great sounds that are in it. So without further nonsense, let's dive right in. I have this loaded into my DAW. I just have the default setting pulled up here. I always love to check out the default, just kind of see that first impression tone from these plugins. So let's hear what it sounds like out of the box.
Perfect.
Sounds great right out of the box. Let's talk a little bit about the amplifiers, and we'll talk about the interface and then get into some sounds. The first amplifier is a 5153 model they have here. It's single channel controls. It's got 3 different power tube options. That's pretty cool. And it looks fantastic. Amp number 2 is the PV6505, which is basically like the 5150. They just rebranded it to the 6505 after Eddie left, and there may be some differences. There's always raging debates about how different they really are or aren't. I'm not too up to speed on that. All I know is it sounds really good and I like it. Amp number 3 is like a Vox AC30 model, and you can do some cool stuff with this amp. I mean, it can go from really sweet and mellow to really honky and rocky, you know. So there's some cool options there. I like that you have the high and low inputs, you have top, boost, trem, and master controls. On the left, for the interface, now the interface is a little different than some of the newer ones, but let's talk about it. You have an input gain, you have a built-in gate, which I love. The tuner, which always seems to be on, is right here, and it works well, but it is a little annoying, I must say, when it's bouncing around all the time in front of you when you're playing and you see it out of the corner of your eye. But it's easy to turn off. The amp selection, we just looked at that. The pedal section, you have here a Maxon 808 model, and this is a very standard setup for metal dudes. I mean, you have 0 drive, all the boost. Moving on to the Revenant pedal. This is the Andy James signature Revenant pedal that STL Tones has produced, and this is a really powerful preamp that can do a lot of things. And on that note, you'll notice that this pedal here for the routing, it routes this to either the amplifier or the power amp section. Amp section, we looked at that, pretty standard stuff. The cabinet section is a little dated maybe by today's standards for some of the plugins we have, but it works well. You have the ability to kind of have that 3D manipulation of the microphone. So you're basically just manipulating one speaker. You'll notice there's no microphone selections in here. It's all just matched cabs. So 1, 2, and 3 for the amps 1, 2, and 3. And then there's some custom tones in here for the Andy James custom presets that are available in here. And so there are some options. You can really mess around with them, but they're designed to be matched to the presets and be pretty straightforward. The good news is they sound great. So this works, it's fine. So moving on from the cabinet section, we come to the effects section. Now this is where this plugin really makes its money in my opinion. This is one of the best reverb and delay combos I've ever heard in a plugin. And then you have a lo-fi pedal here.
Nope.
I gotta turn the guitar on first. So I didn't mention the mixer mode earlier. I don't think I did. And this is actually kind of a unique feature of the STL Tones plugins. When you click on this up here, you start with your gate over here, your tuner, which will turn off. And then you have your stomp section here that you have access to. But like if we were gonna use this in the mixer mode, then that's what we would get out of it. So I guess if you wanted to blend some tones, it would be cool, but not really something that I would do much of, I don't think. Let's talk about some of the sounds that we can get out of this plugin and take a look at those. That's awesome. This is the 6505 with some delay on it, basically. The AC30. Sounds pretty killer. Love that lead tone. That is the lead tone right there, folks. Sounds so good. You hear that reverb and delay? It's just so smooth, so good, man. And that just goes on forever. So they have the AC30 with the 5150 with a really high blend on the 5150. So that's kind of interesting. That actually works. It's kind of a nice crunchy. Okay, I see what they're going for with that. That's pretty cool. I think the Revenant pedal sounds really cool the way that they're using it in this plugin. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration of the Andy James plugin. It holds up in 2023, I think, really well. There's a lot that this plugin can do, especially in the lead and clean department, that is on par with some of the better ones today with, you know, their clean and edge of breakup and stuff. This can do that just fine. And if you want to get heavy, you can get real heavy too. So if you are a fan of Andy James, if you are someone who plays maybe more than just crazy metal stuff and wants to incorporate some cool AC30 stuff into your music or some really cool single coil sounds, this might be a plugin to consider, and don't let it pass you by. It's a little older, but it holds up and it sounds great. So anyway, folks, until next time, thanks for watching.